Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Mary Kate McKay and I'm here to talk to you through how I like to put on my bronzer, my blusher, and just to finish up contouring. As you can see, I've already got my base coat on. So I've got my foundation on, my primer, I've got my sort of my concealer on in the problem areas, and also the beginning of contouring. So as you can see, my concealer, I've put it down here, through my nose, under my eyes, sort of a night tick motion, just under my cheekbone and a tiny bit on my chin. And I've blended that in all with my foundation brush, which is synthetic. So I've already done all that, and what I'm going to do now, which I'm excited about, is to put on my bronzer. Now I am a naturally more olive toned skin, so I like to go for a really sort of dark bronze which has got some lovely shimmer in it, which brings out a nice highlighting motion on my cheeks. So what we do is we get our blusher brush and we get our bronzer, and I use the same brush just because I dust it off anyway. It's all going on the same place, so I don't really change brushes. That's probably wrong, but I'm not a professional makeup artist. I'm just an everyday kind of girl, just putting on my everyday makeup, and I just want to talk you girls through it because this is how I learn. So the bronzer that I use is my absolute favourite. It's Urban Decay and it's called Baked Bronzer. And as you can see, it's multi-tonal and it is gorgeous. It's just it's just such a deep sort of tan. You can imagine when I put it on, I always kind of feel like I've just come out of the sun, I've got a little bit of sweat going on, but the sun's hit me and my freckles are coming out, and I just feel sort of beach fresh. Like I just walked off the beach and I love it. And as you can see, I've got mad beachy hair, so bronze is one of my favourite things. I'm going to get my brush, I'm just going to dab it on there. A technique I've picked up from makeup artists, if I've been on a photo shoot set or anything like that, is this. They just dust it in the middle of there, just like give it a little flick, give it a little flick, and using the end of my brush, multi-purpose brush, I'm gonna go for, just think of a figure three, not three, because we all are three. Think of the figure three. That's really hard to say. I dare you to try it. And we're gonna go forehead, down here onto our cheekbone, emphasize the cheekbone, and then on another right on our jawline. And what that does, it replicates what the sun hits when you go out on it. So it hits here because it's higher up on your face, and then it hits here because your cheekbones obviously stick out, and then it hits here because that's also sticking out. So it's sort of your bone structure. So you think of the figure three and you do that on both sides. So I've got my blusher on my brush, my bronzer. I just get them mixed up, but it's okay. So I'm just going to give it some on here. I'm going to go down on here, and then I'm going to finish up on here. And I'm going to just get some more on my brush, dab it off, and go for the same on the inside. So here, here, and here. Now by the time it gets down here, I'll probably use it all up on here and here. So I'm just going to pop it back up on here. And just give it a little bit more on the cheeks because I love looking like I've been out in the sun. It's one of my favourite looks. Also, if you've ever seen a contouring picture, if you Google it or anything like that, and they all look like lines or whatever, you'll see that not only do they do it in the three motion, but they also do it down the side of the nose. And that's to extend sort of a really sort of lovely thin nose look. So you've got your highlighter on there. So I'm just going to put it down the sides. Just dust it down. Because also you get, a little bit underneath. You also get the sun in your nose too. So just gonna give it some of that. Okay, and just before I put my blusher on, which depending on your skin tone, you can put more of a peachy colour on, or you can put more of a pinky colour. Now, even when I put pink on, for some reason when I put it on my skin, it comes out more peachy. But that's that's just the way my skin draws out colours and tones that sort of suit me. before I do that, I'm going to put on a very subtle highlighter. And the highlighter I'm going to show you is lovely. I know some of you girls like to use High Beam by Benefit, and that's lovely, and I used to use that for years, but what I've come across is something even nicer, and it's by Number 7. I'll just show you that, and it's Skin Illuminator Radiance Boosting Beauty Fluid, Hypoallergenic, allergic, I can't even say that, but that's fine. And I'm gonna, comes with its own little brush as well, which is really cool, but I don't tend to use that just because I want control over how much I put on, and this, it just kind of squirts out into that, and it can be quite overpowering. But if you love your highlighter, then use this brush, that's fine. So like I did with everything else, I'm just going to stick a tiny bit on my hand, and it's really cool because you can turn it on or off. You can just do a little twisty motion, on, off. That's off, just to make sure it doesn't like squirt out when you put it back in your huge makeup bag, or like a makeup bag I've used prefer. I'm just going to use my foundation brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab it over my cheekbones ever so slightly, like so. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blusher brush to blend it in a bit. But I want to get the initial sort of wetness of the liquid using this, because this is already wet. But I'm only using a minimal amount. So like before, in the same way I showed you where we should put our sort of concealer, I'm going to put it down those lines, so a bit on my forehead, down my nose, and a tiny bit on my chin. And also, I always like to put a little bit on my lip, just like that. That just plumps up the lips and makes them look really sort of highlighted. So I've dabbed it on my areas, sort of a contouring motion. And now I'm going to take my bronzer brush and a hint of bronzer, and I'm just going to blend that into the rest of my bronzer and my foundation and my base coat. And because obviously now it's a little bit wet, but I'm just going to blend that in. So back in that free motion over here, down the nose here, I'm just blending it in subtly, because obviously this highlighter is lighter than the bronzer, but by blending it in with the bronzer, it just gives that really sort of natural glow. And we've got it down here. I'm just going to shade it into my line, like jawline, not just my line, just around the lips so they look a bit plumpier. And as you can see, the light is really catching that now in that free motion, and it just looks like a lovely sort of natural glow. Yeah, I'm loving it. Looks great, if I don't say so myself. Okay, and now I'm going to sort of teach you a really sort of cheeky trick, because we always like to get our cheekbones out. We always want to make them look stronger, makes our face look a little bit slimmer. For those guys that haven't got protruding cheekbones quite like mine, they're out there, aren't they? It's because I like to smile a lot, my big round face. I'm going to teach you a trick that's just going to put a shadow just underneath your cheekbone, which kind of gives a false impression that you've got bigger cheekbones, which is really cool. We like little cheeky tricks here and there, don't we? So what I'm using is an angled brush, where you can see that there. And this is just a Cosmopolitan Smoky Eye angled brush. Got this from Boots, so it was just probably the cheapest one I could get. So we're going to get my angled brush, and you can either go for sort of a carbon grey colour, sort of a brown colour. Keep it matte, because we're going to blend it in, so we don't need too much shimmer. We've got shimmer going on here. We just want to subtly give a little shadow under here. So using my angled brush, and I'm just going for this sort of matte brown colour here that's got a bit of red in it, but I like to use brown because that's sort of my skin tone is more sort of the olivey tones, depending if you know whether you want to, if you're pale or if you're darker skin, is whether you use more of a grey if you're pale, if you're darker skin maybe more of a deeper brown colour, maybe something along these lines. That's just a number 7 one. I'm just going to go for this matte brown, dust it off, and kind of make yourself look like a fish. When you do that, you can see exactly where the line is that we need to go. So just making sure I've not got too much on my brush, because we don't want to put an exaggerated line there, we just subtly want to put a line there. So I'm just going to going over in that motion. Now, as you can see, it's not dark, it's not mega dark, which is not what we want. It's just a subtle line. So I'm just going to keep going over in that motion, because I'm going to blend that in a minute. And don't forget the other side, because you don't want to look like your odd-shaped face. The best thing about this is we're going to blend it. So even if you go a bit wrong with it, it's okay, because it's not going to stay in this crazy line. Okay, let's blend. Let's blend. Getting back to my brush. Let's blending that in. There we go, and as you can see, got more of the sort of thing going on my face. So on that side as well. Just subtly in, blend it in, without looking like I've just drawn with a brown pencil on my face. And that is my highlighted and bronzed face with a little bit of a cheekbone kick. So I hope you like it. Anything that I've used, I'm going to sort of write down for you underneath this video. If you want any more videos, please subscribe, and I'll try and put them up as quickly as I can for you. If you've got any requests, just get in touch. But my Twitter and Instagram page, where you can see daily fashion vlogs, is below. Thanks guys, see you soon, bye!